in order to complete the serial commercial scene, there's quite a few things that we need to do. I'm just going to give a rundown of all the most basic things here. So we start with nothing or a table or whatever you want. I'll have the table here, you don't have to have anything, but I'm going to insert a cube, so Shift A, or go down to the Add menu, go to Mesh and Cube. Now the first thing are the dimensions of the box. We need to get the dimensions right so that we have the correct proportions. So I'm going to come over here to the menu and make sure that I get them right. I'm going to come to the Scene tab and change it from None, which it should be, to Imperial. Now if I bring this menu open, or up, the dimensions are 2 by 2 by 2, whatever unit that is. There's no real unit specified. So I'm going to specify or select imperial units, and that changes it all to feet. So there's 6.5 feet by 6.5 by 6.5. So I'm going to then change that. I know my dimensions of a typical cereal box, so 2.5 inches, which is quotation mark. Hit enter. Y is 7.75 inches, and tall is 11.75 inches. So that is really tiny, but I can just now scale it up to whatever size I want. So it depends on the size of your table. My table is not huge, so I'll make the box a little bit bigger, bring it up just over on top of the table. If you have a table, then you can put it on there. Now, since I got the dimensions correct at first, I could scale the whole thing and the dimensions stay proportionately correct. And that's what we're looking for. So I can now change this, or I can rotate it here around the table how I want it. If I go to my camera view, then click and drag here in the middle of the Z, I want to see some of the side and the top. That looks pretty good there. Okay. Now I can close this view, and now I'm going to, next thing is to export the layout so that I can draw it in Photoshop. So if I hit Tab, if I'm selected on the cereal box, and I'm going to open a new menu here, or a new window, change it to the UV image editor. Now I have the render result here. I must have rendered previously. If you get that, it's a little bit confusing because it looks just like the UV image editor layout by default. But anytime you have the render result, whether you have the image there or not, you need to click this X right there and kind of start over with a blank stage here. So now I need to mark the seams correctly. So I'm going to get my edge select, and in order to get them side by side so I can edit them easiest in Photoshop, this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to select that edge there, top and bottom of the front, and then just all 4 of the edges, the small edges on the sides. And then I'll mark seams. So to select them all, you right click of course on one and then hold down Shift and select the rest. And then mark seams. If something goes wrong there while you're selecting, just do a Control Z to undo. Now I'm going to hit A twice to select all of it, and U to unwrap. Now when I unwrap it, it's all squares, and obviously these are not square shaped, so I need to do one quick thing, back out to object mode by hitting Tab, and then I'm going to go to the object menu here and apply rotation and scale, just to tell Blender that I have applied a scale on there. I've changed the scale and the rotation. Then I'll tab back into edit mode and re-unwrap it, U and unwrap, and that way it gives me the correct dimensions. Now that I've got them correct here and they're standing straight up side by side, that's perfect. I'm going to come down here to UVs, and up at the top export UV layout. That way if I select the proper file location, get the right file location, you can create a new directory even for exported UV layouts, maybe, if we're doing that a lot. So I have that created. I'm going to go there, and I've already got one named. I'll do name it appropriately, something like cereal box layout. I already have a couple here that I've practiced on, so I'm going to do number 3. Hit enter and click Export UV Layout. And what that does is it takes an image of this, a picture of this, and creates an image out of that, the outlines there, so that when we bring it into Photoshop, we'll be able to tell where our front of the box is, the back, the top, bottom, and sides. So now that I've got it there, I'm going to open up Photoshop. I've already got one here. Let's open up a new one. Go to File and Open. And then you get your UV layout. It looks like this. Now it's mostly transparent, and this eyeball I can click and it's full transparent, but it's mostly transparent. I can just see the lines, and they do that so that we can put something on there and know exactly how it's going to map back into Blender. So I've kind of finished my box design, simple serial box design, and I've added a few layers here. You need to learn about Photoshop and make sure you know how to use the layers and different things. Let me show you all my layers. I've got that transparency. I've even taken the opacity down to about 20%. If I put it back up to 100%, it kind of messes with my design a little bit. So I bring it down. So I've got that layer. I've got the layer. I brought in an image of a cereal bowl, which is okay. Got a text layer there. I'll just leave these on. Text layer there with some effects on it. Got my nutritional facts that I brought in separately, and then just kind of my colors that I've put on there. So all these layers make up a decent cereal box design, and I know that it's going to map really well. Here's the front, here's the back, side panel, and that's mostly what I'm going to see there. So now when I'm done with that, I go up to File and Save As, and make sure it's saving to the right document location, and it is. And instead of a Photoshop file, I want to save it as that just in case I need to edit it later, but I want to export an image, so I'm going to go to JPEG, and I've already got one here. Let me name another one. Just go 3. I already have 3. How about 4? Serial box layout 4. Save it. I'm going to save it as at full quality here because it's pretty small anyway. Now when I go back into Blender, it's now saved as an image. So then I need to map it. So I'll go to my textures, make sure the box is selected here. In fact, I'm going to tab out to object mode. New texture. And by default it's a white box. Now if I come here to switch this to material, I can see my table there and my cereal box. It's just white. So I'm going to change it from a color, which is white, to an image texture. And purple, anytime you see that, that means there's nothing on it. So I have to go find my image now and navigate to the right folder. And my latest one that I just saved is Export Layout 4, and there it is right there. It puts it on there. Now if I tab in, it doesn't show it on the layout if I need to make adjustments or anything, which you shouldn't, because that's the purpose of the UV layout image, or the export layout. So we exported the layout, brought it back in, and it maps it perfectly. I don't have to make any adjustments on there. But if I did and I wanted it right here, bring that back, I just need to select it here, and it's sitting there. I already brought it into the program. There it is, and it's mapped perfectly. So there's my box, and when I put it in the camera view, let me change that view. I'm going to rotate it around. I can see the front of my box, I can see the side panel with the nutrition facts and the top, and that would be nice if I rendered that there. That's a good place to start, and that's how we get the cereal box mapped correctly.